Welcome to the Knowledge Find IT viewers. Today we are going to learn about how to draw the scatter plot using the Python library, that is Matplotlib. In the previous video, we have learned about so many things: how to make the graph, the bar chart, and the pie chart using the Pandas library and Matplotlib. But today we are going to create the scatter graph, which means the markup graph, using the Matplotlib library. And in the upcoming videos also, we are going to learn many and so much of top 5 Python libraries, and we can make data visualizations using so much of graphs. Like we move to today's session. I'll begin with what is scatter plot. Actually, scatter, that means it is clustered, which means it's in a clustered way. We can mark this cluster in a spot. The scatter plot has two primary uses. They are namely showing trends and relationship between data key points. The data key points, which means when you are going to make the graph, there's two data points. They are x dependent and y dependent. We are making the scatter plot by interconnecting both x dependent and y dependent. Besides the dots, we are putting the dots in the relationship. When we are making the data points, we are putting the dots in the chart. And we report the values of individual data points and the general trends and patterns in the existing data. We can use so much of scatter plots to elaborate more relationship and find out the solution for more problems through the graphs. And here, to draw the scatter plot, we are using the Python library that called Matplotlib. Actually, we need to install this library, and the scatter plots are used to plot data points in the horizontal manner and the vertical manner. Horizontal manner is represented by the y-axis and the vertical is represented by the x-axis. Because when we are going to draw the graph, we need two dimensions, which means the horizontal and vertical, because the data should be visualized in a frame. So, and we need to represent the data in a variable format. We are collecting the data from the data set and we are creating the data table according to the data collections, and we need to make the positions of each variables according to the x and y values. If you assume that you are collecting the data through the CSV or Excel file, each column should be a particular value. We can select those values in the x-axis or y-axis as per our convenience. Here, the Python library Matplotlib, which provides the function that calls scatter. Through this function, we can access the y-axis data and the x-axis data. The y-axis data stores in an array format. Also, the y-axis and x-axis data both are saved in an array value, because we are inserting so many data in the x-axis and y-axis. So, we need to use the array concept because we list out so many things through the data. And when we are creating the scatter plot, we need to mark the point through the dots. So, we need to concern about the dot size. So to increase the scatter dot size, we need to use the scatter function to increase the marker size. And also we can change the color of the scatter. We can change the color sequence through the scatter function. And today we are going to demonstrate and showcase to draw the height versus weight graph. Here we are collecting the data from the 10 participants. We listed out the weight of the 10 participants and the height of the 10 participants. The measurements of the height has been measured under the kilogram and the height has been measured under the centimeter. And here we visualize the data through the manual drawing. In the x-axis we are going to take the weight and in the y-axis we are going to take the height, and we need to draw the graph according to the x-axis and y-axis. Actually, let me take this the participant 1. His or her height is 66.0 and his or her height is 115.0. So we need to first check in the x-axis, we need to check the 60x value. So we need to identify the value of 66 and we need to go for the height and we need to find the 150. Here the interconnection or the relationship between the y-axis and the x-axis, we need to put the mark. As well, let me take the participant 10. His weight is 71.8 and height is 144.1. So we need to move to the weights section. We need to take the 71.8. So this will be identify the point. Then we need to go to the height. Height will be 144.1. So this is the interconnection, the relationship between the x and y axis. So we need to represent the dots by the interconnection relationship between both axes. As I mentioned in the previous video, I have used the platform that is Google Colab to visualize the graph. Today also I am going to use the same Google Colab. Let's move to the demonstration. I'm going to search the Google Colab in my Google Chrome web browser. I am clicking the first search and creating the new notebook. And here I need to put the name to save my notebook. So I am putting the name as sample. Wait, I need to double. So I need to delete it. Sample scatter. You can provide any of the name as per your wish. First of all, I need to import the library. So I need to import the Matplotlib library. That's why I'm going to give the command that is import. Here, I'm going to use the Matplotlib library. The package, the pyplot allows the matplot. So I am creating the import command. And I have created the SPLT because we are using the pyplot and we are getting the all relevant function using this PLT object. Then in the second line, I am going to create the variable for my x and y axis. I am going to take the weight under the x axis and I am going to take the variable height in the y-axis. So I'm declaring the array because we are going to pass the lot of things. So I'm creating height and weight. I'm passing the values. Then I'm going to use the function that calls scatter because we need to create a scatter graph. That's why I'm going to use the scatter function, and I have already created the data variable, so I need to pass those variable inside of the scatter parameter, and I need to put the color of the graph. That's why I put the color red. That means the dots which should be in red color. If you like to put the dots in the green color, you can provide the name as green. And I need to put the title of my graph, that is height versus weight. That's why I call the function that I mentioned in the previous video. I use the title function and the x label function, y label function, and I put the label for the x-axis and the y-axis. And here additionally I use the grid function. Grid function, which means to represent the graph in the graph paper format, which means after using the grid function, you can observe the graph should be appeared in the squared manner. Like a maths paper, you can easily find the dots and identify the measurement. And finally, you need to display the graph, you need to call the show function. I think you can well understand the concept of using the Matplotlib library, and you can create the scatter plot. If you don't know how to create the bar chart and the pie chart, you can refer the previous library, and please subscribe our channel and continue watching and support us. Thank you.